Hello, my name's Janice Gunner and the name of my quilt is Nuno 1. Well, the inspiration behind it was actually the fabrics themselves. They actually have come from all the way from Japan, and they are designed by a lady called Reiko Sudo, who runs a business in Japan called Nuno. She's been quite famous in Japan and had a big exhibition at the Japan House in London a couple of years ago. And they were just so different. They're really dressmaking fabrics and soft furnishings fabrics. They're not necessarily quilting fabrics, but I like to play around with different textures and different weights of fabrics in a piece of work. And that's really how it all came about. It's quite a challenge, actually. Trying to not to over quilt it, shall we say, and leave some areas of negative space within the work itself, and using much bigger pieces of fabric rather than the smaller pieces that I'm used to using. Yeah, it's a bit of a challenge. It's quite interesting to work out how to make them read as a quilt. The form of the quilt, it was designed on my design wall. Actually, I didn't plan it out beforehand. I had a pile of fabrics and I played around with placing them in one place on my design wall, and then I might have taken it away and put something else in. And it was just that I liked the combination of the colours together. It's quite a restrained palette for me. I'm used to working with quite bright colours, or lots of blue. But you're working with the black and white. It made a very graphic statement, rather than just quite subtle, quite subdued. Well, I started quilting in 1974. And like most people, I started off with traditional type things and then moved on from there. Did City and Guilds certificate and diploma. Then I went on and did the diploma in stitch textiles. And I've recently finished an MA at UCA in Farnham. So my work is has moved around and changed direction quite a lot over the years. In a way, I'm trying to be a bit more abstract in my work, so it's not quite so literal, and also using different textures. The MA introduced me to using lots of different sorts of fabric in my work that I wouldn't necessarily have considered to be patchwork fabric. And I've been doing a lot of dyeing, natural dyes and things like that. And the colours in this quilt, apart from the black, are quite soft and quite subtle, which are a bit like some of the fabrics that I've been dyeing with natural dyes as well. But I've done all sorts of things in the quilting world. I've been president of the Quilters Guild, I've been National Exhibitions Officer, and I've been involved with this show, the Festival of Quilts, since its very first show in 2003. Well, it has and it hasn't. There's lots of younger people coming into quilting now, which is great because we need the younger people. I was only in my 20s when I first started off, and it's nice to see younger people coming in and doing things, and the change in the styles, bigger pieces. Obviously, we're in the modern category here at the moment, where a lot of the quilts are using much bigger pieces anyway, and in a much more abstract kind of way. There's a lot of machine stitching now, a lot of free machine stitching, a lot of working with, this quilt for instance, I've been working on my Bernina UK with the rulers to get the straight lines, but still using the free machine techniques. And then I'll break off and I'll do a bit of free machining and that sort of thing. So a bit of a move away, I think, from hand quilting. And I think as some of us get older, we're finding that machine quilting is an easier option for us because our hands don't work as well as they used to. And this show proves it really, with just so many different styles and varieties of quilts. and different techniques that people have used, you know, and the fact that there are so many up and coming quilt, not say quilt, just yes, quilt designers, but not only quilt designers, but fabric designers, and some of them who are printing their own fabrics and, you know, using different things in their quilts, using things that they've designed themselves.